Hi, I'm Stephanie Tsai of Yahoo News, here with Yahoo News Editor-in-Chief Dan Klaidman. We have breaking news. Special counsel Robert Mueller has completed his investigation into the Trump campaign's potential ties with Russia. The Mueller report, Dan, after nearly 2 years, is complete, and the confidential report has been sent to the Attorney General William Barr. I think the big question everyone has is, when will we see it? When will the public know what this investigation entailed? What do you think?
Well, we know that the Attorney General, William Barr, has told Congress that he thinks as soon as this weekend he will be able to give them some information about the report. We don't know if that's a full summary or exactly what that means, but that's what he said in his letter to the chairman and ranking member of the House Judiciary Committee. He also indicated that he would be consulting with Special Counsel Mueller and the Deputy Attorney General to discuss what else, consistent with the Justice Department's rules and policies and applicable law, can be made more public so that the American people can see it. There are all sorts of considerations that they will have grand jury information, which is secret, so-called 6E information, classified information. But what the Attorney General did say is he wants to be as transparent as he possibly can. We'll see if that happens.
He says, I remain committed to as much transparency as possible, that he will keep us informed of the status of the review. Not us, but the ranking members of Congress. This is the letter I'm reading from. He also talks about the public interest, and clearly there is a public interest. Everybody wants to know. I think there was a poll that said 80% of Americans want to know fully what is in this report. Right. What has Congress done to ensure that the public gets as much information as they can?
Well, first of all, this isn't like any other criminal case, right, or investigation. This is an investigation into whether the Trump campaign colluded with a foreign government, a foreign rival, to essentially throw an American election. So, in terms of public interest, there's probably no investigation that could have more public interest than something that goes to the core of our democracy. What has Congress done? Well, the Democrats who now control Congress have passed a law saying that this report should be made public. There will be enormous pressure on the administration and on this Attorney General to make as much of this report public as possible. Mike Isikoff and I interviewed Zoe Lofgren on Skullduggery, our podcast. It came out just today, and we asked her about this. And while she did not say commit to the Judiciary Committee issuing a subpoena for Mueller to talk about his investigation, or to subpoena the report itself, she did say, let's just say we're not at the end of the road here. So I think that's a strong indication that if the administration, if the Attorney General does not release this report or much of it, then Congress will take action.
Now, for people that have not been following every detail of the Mueller investigation, it's important to remind people that there have already been criminal charges as a result of the special counsel's investigation, including charges against 6 former Trump campaign officials. Within that, are you expecting that there'll be very much that is new in this report that is not already known? Because there was a lot of speculation leading up to this day that Mueller had sort of been telling the story of the investigation through various charges and indictments.
Yeah, I think there's going to be new information in this report. I mean, think of it this way. Bob Mueller and his team of excellent prosecutors and many FBI agents have been investigating these allegations for 675 days. You know, the media comes out with new information almost on a daily basis on this investigation and on the facts that underlie it. And they don't have subpoena power. They don't have the ability to put people in the grand jury. They don't have wiretaps. So it would be very surprising to me if Mueller does not have new information that adds to the narrative that we already know. Now, having said that, one thing that I think is important to say is this investigation has now been completed without Bob Mueller charging anyone with criminal collusion, right?
So and Trump has said over and over again, no collusion, no collusion.
That's right. And so, you know, look, there's a big legal debate as to whether a sitting president can be indicted We know that Bob Mueller would follow the Justice Department guidelines that sitting presidents can't be indicted, but he certainly could have indicted other people who are not subject to those Justice Department guidelines. So, for example, there was speculation that Donald Trump Jr. Or Jared Kushner or other members of the family could have been indicted in this growing probe. That has not happened, and we now know the investigation is over. So I think there's a lot that we still don't know, but in terms of criminal charges, we're not expecting new indictments. It would be very surprising to me if after this report was released and we are told that the investigation is over, then you get a series of indictments. So there's a lot we don't know, but there's certain things that we do know that I think are important, and that's one of them.
Out of all of the things that we are waiting for, what is the most extreme example of what Special Counsel Mueller might have said in this report? Could he say, for example, we investigated the president and this is my recommendation?
I don't think he's going to make a recommendation. I think Bob Mueller is a very careful prosecutor. He also saw what happened to James Comey in the Hillary Clinton investigation when he went out and publicly talked about things that she did that he never charged, misconduct that she committed that he never charged in any criminal indictments, the reckless handling of classified information with those emails. There is, I think, no chance that Bob Mueller will do anything like that. And he's not going to make a recommendation to Congress that they investigate further for possible impeachment proceedings. What his job is, and as I'm sure he views it, is I've investigated this. Here are the facts. It goes to Congress. It is now a political question what Congress decides to do. My job is complete.
There are several investigations.
Now, let me just say that does not mean that in this report it may not be written in a way that suggests all sorts of misconduct. I'm just saying he's not going to make any conclusions about what ought to happen, and he's not going to cast those actions in any way that goes beyond the facts. There's not going to be conjecture or speculation, and I don't think there's going to be a lot of judgment in this report. I think it's going to be a just the facts man kind of thing.
So from a political standpoint, there are multiple investigations within the Senate and the House that were running concurrent to this investigation by the special counsel, but Mueller was throughout viewed by Democrats as a very neutral, trustworthy investigator. Could this be the end of the investigations on Donald Trump, or inevitably would you say those would continue regardless of what the Mueller report says?
Well, let's remember we still have the Southern District of New York investigating a number of issues that involve Donald Trump, not the least of which is campaign finance violations involving paying off porn stars. And those, suggest criminal activity by the President of the United States. So that investigation continues. And then the Congress is going to continue to investigate many, many different aspects of both things that are in this report and a lot of other avenues that are not in the report. So the investigations are going to continue for the next 2 years until the next election. The question that I think you're raising is when those investigations are being done by Congress, by Democrats in Congress, can they be cast as partisan by the president? And I do think that if this report is not really damning in terms of showing collusion and that kind of criminal activity, then the president is going to be on the campaign trail very soon, and he's going to be saying, they hounded me, they did this witch hunt, and now, in his famous words that he's uttered thousands and thousands of times, there was no collusion. And I think that politically that could help him. But we don't know until we see the details of this report and what else is in there.
All right, we may start to see those details perhaps in leaks, perhaps as soon as this weekend, if the report is seen at least in part by members of Congress. Dan Klaidman, editor-in-chief of Yahoo News. I know you've dispatched reporters and writers who are going to be covering this, so you can continue to follow the latest details. Again, breaking news. Special Counsel Robert Mueller has completed his report. You want to add something?
Just a little plug for the podcast. Skullduggery will be doing an emergency podcast, which will be out tomorrow on Saturday. We may have more information by then, but Isikoff and I will be dissecting all of the information that we have so far.
All right. So you can also download the Skullduggery podcast, available wherever you get your podcasts, for the latest analysis and for all of the latest details, obviously, on Yahoo News. The Mueller report has been released, at least sort of, to the AG, and we will continue to await details.